So, obviously the thing we have to deal with in the past is that there's a bunch of guards everywhere. But we don't really have to deal with that in the future. But although I believe there are hounds. In
Yeah,
the future
there's
area, so.
hounds.
And some
Especially
zombies.
once you get outside. Yeah.
And lots of those
When
flies.
no one keeps the rooms clean and dry, the house goes to rot.
This is a very, very ambitious concept.
Yeah, totally.
And it's interesting that they decided not to do this for any of the other levels. This is just this thing. This isn't some mechanic that they tied into the entire game, like, say, Half-Life 2 and the gravity gun.
Yeah,
You can kind of understand why they didn't do that, because of the amount of
Content
they'd have to make
costs,
2 levels for every single level, basically.
He started as a
Every now and again, this game introduces a concept where you think to yourself, gee, man, you know, this seems like this is going to become a thing. And then the first few times you're surprised when it isn't. And then after that, you're just kind of like, well, geez, what's the next thing?
Both Titanfall and this game, though, do the thing where... And Titanfall is, I think, a little worse in terms of explaining it, but basically as soon as the level is over, it's like, well, this awesome power time travel mechanic, it's done, it's done. And I think in Titanfall, it's just literally you take off this magical device that lets you travel back in time and go, I don't need that anymore, the level's over.
The center of the manor is off limits tonight.
Here it's more
Well,
like,
it's
I think
more,
it's implied
I think
that the magic only works in this place.
Yeah, like this particular area is weird.
Because of all the seances and magics and whatnot.
So there's our...
Basically, we're working our way to Stilton's backyard, and Stilton's backyard is not a normal people backyard. There's not a barbecue set and
Did I
a
get it? Good.
fire pit back there. It's basically a giant sacrificial altar surrounded by devil dogs.
Can I
Man,
hit...
that's the American dream.
And in the future, they're diamond dogs.
Oh God. Boo.
Oh, okay.
It is kind of a fun thing to do, though, to play this level. Like, you do have to kind of keep two
Change in the present based on
versions of a
identity.
space in your head at once, and that's really neat to do.
Yeah.
There's this funny part where I was trying to find the kitchen key, and I thought that it was maybe on the 2 people working in there, and I went to the future and I'm like, oh, these people won't hurt me, but then they started screaming a lot, and I was like, oh my god, like, you know, and so I knocked them both out, and then it turns out that the key was in the future. So they didn't even
Aw.
have them, and so now they will be future dead people, but sooner.
Oh, right.
So, who is it that you could bring back to life or whatever?
What?
Isn't there a character you can see here where I think you had an opportunity to kill them before, but if you help them live here, they're alive again? There's something you can change about the timeline in this level that the game actually respects.
but I wasn't gonna, like, say what that is until it happens.
All right, well then we'll talk about it then. I literally can't remember what it is, so just ignore me. We'll get there. We're finally at that
so
point
we can't
where
blink. Which is
yeah, that was
fun.
the other thing. No, that I think they playtested this and realized that between the time travel abilities and your normal magic, you were just way too strong, and it was trivial. So instead, it's no magic and time travel.
Which for me kind of forced me to look at these levels in a different way. Because before I wouldn't try to see what I could climb on so much as, because you just blink everywhere. And I was like, oh man, now I have to actually think about platforming.
Yeah, see, like, this whole area is set up just for that.
Did I close my locker before coming? This shirt reeks. I gotta get a spare uniform. Someone left a hangfish in my jacket pocket.
So...
Damn it. I need to
Can you move mid-jump?
I don't know. Not well.
Yes, but not fast enough. Yep.
I can't remember how I did this last time.
Do we have to go up there?
No, but there's a cool little side room thing up there. Maybe this is one of those things where I need to, like, break something in the past.
If you have the opportunity to break something in the past, I think you should take it.
I'm surprised there's no sort of prime directive thing happening, though. Like, never at any point the outsider's like, well, but be careful, well, you messed too many things up, and then the future has changed forever. Like,
Somehow
you
that
could kill
doesn't
all
seem
the
on
people.
brand for the outsider.
Yeah.
Well, he has a little time shift himself, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
useless son.
I would be curious to know, like, how much difficulty went into the sort of the... Because it's a very nice effect, look through the crystal shards to kind of see the past on display.
Yeah. Like, you kind of wonder what what sort of tech is going on there.
I'm more curious how many iterations it took to get them to figure out how to be able to communicate clearly what you're seeing in the past, but also not obscure your vision. Like, how many times did the UI get reworked? Because it's big enough that you can kind of see it, but it doesn't, and it's almost in your center frame of view, but it's not. I'd be curious to see if, like, older versions were straight up in the middle of your vision, or if they took up more space.
Of course, just the animation of the crystal lenses flipping up is itself just like a nicely done.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's... Okay, she's in a spot where it won't matter.
Is this not making stealth somewhat trivial?
To an extent, although we're going to get to an area later on here where there's a bunch of stuff in the future that we also have to worry about getting past.
I see. It's a sort of situation where, you might escape into the future and discover suddenly a host of new problems.
Yeah. Is there anybody up here?
What if you just flip-flop in between so frequently that no one could stop you?
I think that's what
Well,
I
I mean,
I
that's
think
probably
they-
pretty easy to do that.
But if they spot you, you can't go... Like, if you're on alert?
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, you can.
Can claim
Really?
No, what makes it challenging is that it takes it 2 or so seconds for the thing to trigger, which doesn't sound like that long of a time. But when either a dog is trying to bite your ankles or a guy's about to shoot you, they can hurt you. you can't just flip-flop. You have to sort of like have an escape plan of some kind once you've notified monsters on both timelines. Like, I'm sure we'll get into that situation here soon enough, and we will have to try it, but...
Tonight, Bell and the others will drink my expensive whiskey and scheme. Jindosh will watch me like a cat with a half-chewed mouse. Ashworth will sneer about how conventional the rest of us are. Missing the obvious, she'll flirt for a while, then put me in my place. I'll sit on my anger.
So the kind of backstory of this guy is he was a miner who basically managed to, through a combination of luck and smarts, get rich and end up owning at least a large portion of the mines and being an advocate sort of for the lower classes, because that's, you know, what he came up as, you know. So he's a big advocate for the safety of the miners and the well-being of the miners and so on. But also because he's super rich, kind of is expected to mingle in high society.
I do love all the fans.
That's a new thing. Like, that wasn't in Dishonored 1, I think.
No,
Oh,
they didn't
Dunwall
have
never
fans and
really
stuff.
felt hot enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Casablanca is a big inspiration for a lot of the environments in this game.
Oh, totally. I think that's pretty on point.
I don't know if we want to use that door. Let's go back up here. Need you to not be looking this way, lady. No. Yeah.
I'm hungry.
How the heck did I get up there? Oh! These things are on levers. Why is there a bathtub up here, you ask?
I
Well,
don't know.
in the
This seems like
future-
exactly the kind of bohemian environment in which you'd want to have a bath.
What the heck is relocation sickness? Witches sometimes stumble off balance after magical relocation.
That's amusing.
Also, you can also be here in the past when the ceiling hadn't collapsed.
Those
Actually,
are some
that's
good
particularly
times.
nasty. That's nasty, the relocation sickness one, because after they successfully kill you and wander off, their primary mode of transportation, they're gonna, like, be conditioned to feel sick every time.
So one thing for this level I did wish that it had more of is a little bit more of like a story, or like a more character between the two time zones, because like you barely really know any character in this mansion. Really, like there's no story. Like you could have had like
I might be able to get around that.
listen in on more
Going
people
back into the
talking, or maybe
past.
like a maid or something, and then you see something in the present and you find their room. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, they really kind of.
Yeah, there's
backfill
not
it.
a whole lot of that. There is a little bit. So, in the future, the statue's in the way. So what we need to do is break it. And now in the future, it's not.
What a magic trick.
I wonder what I was doing in Dunwall on this night. Or what I am doing.
What the heck? The contents of this trash can are not physically inside the trash can.
Oh man, same.
They didn't know how to use trash cans back in the day.
But no, I think Alex is right. I think for a level that is so interested in exploring these two time periods, it treats it mostly as a gameplay gimmick until the very end, where it actually says, "Oh wait, there's supposed to be a reason we're doing this." I mean, it's a cool gimmick.
Yeah, it's a cool gimmick. In practice, it does not really seem to be sizzling. Like, there's no next level gunpoint style shenanigans that Josh is constructing here with the kind of two worlds mechanic. It almost seems more cool than, like, engaging.
Okay, that was kind of cool.
It's just when I see levels like this, I always think that, like, someone had this whole level design and then they went to the writers, like, 10 days before it shipped and was like, alright, time to write a narrative around this thing, go.
Alright, quick. Stuff the dead hound in the wall so that it smells really bad and none of the guards want to be on patrol in the next area.
So,
Or
that's,
we could just burn it.
isn't that how you get rid of the blood flies?
Yeah.
They never existed. Those blood flies you killed never existed, and I think we've already had a paradox.